Have you ever seen a city whose splendor rests on its own graves? That's Paris. While you admire its romance and prosperity above ground, beneath its surface lies a vast labyrinth. This 300-kilometer network of tunnels not only buries millions of dead but also holds the city's most astonishing secrets. Why does it exist? Where did these skeletons come from? Why did resistance fighters during World War II establish their secret headquarters here? And why, in this deep cemetery, do we find abandoned telephone lines and sculptures that resemble works of art? If you're curious about these questions, don't hesitate. Today, we'll uncover the full truth behind the Paris Catacombs. In the Paris Catacombs, the walls are made of a large number of human skulls and long bones neatly stacked together to form bone walls on both sides. The structure is similar to that of shelves. The narrow passages are made of soil or gravel, and the stone pillars on both sides support the rock structure at the top. In the Paris Catacombs, priests and quarry workers worked together to create oval bone mounds. This practice was more than a simple accumulation of bones, rather, it was a methodical treatment of the remains of the deceased, influenced by specific historical contexts and religious beliefs. It reflects both a reverence for life and the unique social conditions of the time regarding funerals and space utilization, and stands as a crucial testament to the memory of death in Parisian history and culture. Human skulls and other bones are scattered throughout the Paris Catacombs. These remains bear witness to a unique past, a time when Paris, faced with overcrowding and the removal of human remains to abandoned quarries, carry with them the weight of memories of life, death, and the city's transformation, silently recounting that unique period. After traversing a lengthy underground passage, you'll arrive at an incredible area. Here, death is no longer obscure, but rather artistically presented. Behold, the walls are densely packed with neatly arranged skulls, arranged in patterns, creating a unique decoration for this subterranean hall. Even more astonishing, even the ceiling above is artfully filled with various skeletons, creating a sense of being in a vast labyrinth constructed by the millions of deceased. Amidst this sea of bones, one detail caught our attention, a plaque. This seemingly ordinary stone tablet wasn't a decoration, but a guide to history. It recorded the origins of these bones and the time they were moved here from the above-ground cemetery. These cold words were the only witness to the migration of millions of souls from the bustling mortal world to the underworld. Many people believe the Paris catacombs were purpose-built mausoleums, but this is not the case. Originally underground quarries for limestone extraction during Roman times, they stretched nearly 300 kilometers, like a vast labyrinth beneath Paris. The forking paths we see are just a small part of this vast network, each leading to a different depth of history. Standing at a fork in the road, you can almost feel the intersection of history, each skeleton telling a silent story. It's estimated that over 6 million remains are buried here, including those of historical figures such as the renowned writer Rabelais, the philosopher Montesquieu, and even those executed during the French Revolution. The remains of the deceased are neatly arranged, forming walls that are both eerie and yet imbued with a sense of order. Millions of skulls and leg bones, like silent building blocks, form this unique empire of death. And in this sea of bones, the most striking feature is the white cross tombstone standing in the center. Unlike the neatly laid out bone walls, the passages here appear rough and primitive, with uncarved ceilings and stone walls. This is because they were not originally built for the dead, but for the construction of the city. These underground passages date back to the Middle Ages. They originally served as vast underground quarries. Paris, at the time, was experiencing rapid development, creating a huge demand for building stone. Thus, people began mining the limestone needed to build the city right beneath their feet. Many of the city's stone buildings have their foundation stones mined from this dark world beneath their feet. French soldier Sergeant de Carey, imprisoned in the catacombs in the late 18th century, spent years hand-carving a miniature palace out of limestone on the catacombs' walls, complete with walls, towers, arches, and steps to resemble a medieval castle. However, what you may not know is that this deep world hides an even more unexpected secret. Behind these walls constructed from millions of bones, we see not only the dust of history, but also traces of modern civilization. In the early 20th century, during the rapid development of telephone technology, Paris's city officials turned their attention to the underground. These hundreds of kilometers of abandoned tunnels were considered an ideal communication channel. Workers carved new paths alongside the skeletons, further developing and utilizing the tunnels, transforming them into communication conduits for telephone lines. However, with the advancement of technology and the emergence of new communication methods, these telephone lines were eventually abandoned. Today, most of them still lie quietly in the tunnels. The cost and workload of removing these tangled networks of obsolete cables from this vast and complex underground labyrinth would have been enormous. Therefore, the authorities ultimately chose to leave them where they are, allowing them to become another unique 20th century relic of this empire of the dead. In the Paris Catacombs, the remains of the deceased are neatly arranged in linear layers. Skulls and long bones are tightly packed together to form unique walls. This scene is both solemn and horrifying. Before us are scattered wreckage, and during World War II, these intricate passages of the Paris Catacombs held extraordinary significance. They served as the secret headquarters of the Free French, providing a hidden space for the resistance forces to operate. One of the famous underground halls was also used as a wartime shelter, protecting many lives. The dark underground world that once housed the remains of the deceased became a special place to protect hope and freedom during the war years. The entire catacombs cover 11,000 square meters, and the network of tunnels within stretches for 300 kilometers, like a vast labyrinth. However, only about 1 kilometer of this area is open to the public. Since 1994, it has attracted visitors from all over the world annually. Once you step inside, you'll find the environment eerie, damp, and dim. The tunnels are approximately 2 to 3 meters high, and the passages are only about 2 meters wide, creating a feeling both oppressive and shocking. To your left, you might face rough stone walls, while to your right, piles of neatly arranged bones. This journey is not just about traversing the underground tunnels, but also about traveling through time and space, experiencing the city's most hidden and profound history. Here, we face death head-on and cherish life even more.